Alrighty, Travis Wayne Goodsell. I'm saving the previous video and going right into this one. This is exclusive breaking news from me. From me. This isn't somebody else's report. This is my breaking news. I want all of you to remember that concerning this. So here it is. You guys are all going to drop your jaws. It's not just exclusively for Mormons. This is for Christians. This is for Jews. This is big news. Unfortunately, the Mormons are the ones, or those who know about the Mormons and complain and criticize the Mormons, are the majority of my viewers. So I'll have to try to keep you guys in mind because you're my audience. You're the ones that I'm talking to. I hope you got your Bibles out and you're ready to go with Matthew chapter 25. You can pause it, of course, and go get it, but I'm sure most of you know the parable of Matthew chapter 25, right from 1 to 13. And this is, from the Mormon's King James Version translation. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins. And so, yeah, this is dealing with the second coming. Because, let's see. Yeah, verse 13. Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. However, we now know that this was an interpolation redaction by the author of this book. Because it clearly indicates that he doesn't understand how to use the signs in the heavens to identify the dates of events in the future. Just like John the Revelator, chapter 12. That's what he's doing. John the Revelator is giving dates in the future. And so, yeah, this is awesome, guys. And so you guys understand. They're talking about the bridegroom. You're supposed to understand it as Jesus Christ if you're Christian and Mormon. If you're Jewish, you understand this to be the Jewish Messiah. The last days Jewish Messiah. And so it's talking about virgins. Those are members of the faith. Whether it's Jews or Christians or Mormons, well, that's the membership of the church. And it says there are two types. It doesn't say a 50-50. The Mormon President Oaks, or Elder Oaks, when he said it in conference, he messed up and said, oh, the percentage is horrifying. 50-50. It's not 50-50. It's two parts, two types of thinking. And that's what I wanted to get across in the previous video attempts for the interpretation of the parable of the 10 virgins. Virgins. And so, yes, in John chapter 12, the woman, the virgin, the church, that's the symbol. The virgin gives birth to the man-child, the Jewish Messiah, the one mighty and strong for the Mormons. So the church gives birth, not an actual woman, although that is the case because according to the Jews, the Jewish Messiah is full human, not half God, half human, like Hercules or I can't remember the other one, but yeah, so the virgins are the people of the church, the membership of the church. And there are two types. There are those who are prepared, and there are those who are not prepared. And so it's not a 50-50 thing. It's two types. And so yeah, I'm not going to get into the interpretation. I just want to get right to the breaking news. And I'm going to purposely wait till the end. And so, yeah, they're waiting for the bridegroom. And the marriage. Anybody know about Jewish marriages? I didn't think so. There's not a quick, easy access to the book. So, yeah, Jewish marriages involved a week-long feast. So a marriage is a marriage feast. It's not just a marriage. It's a feast. It's a celebration. So, a feast for the coming of the bridegroom. Christians call this the second coming of Christ. Jews say it's the first coming of the Jewish Messiah in the latter days. And Mormons, they don't know it, but it's the coming of the one mighty and strong, not Jesus. So they're a little bit messed up on that, following the Christian interpretation rather than their own interpretation. And so, yeah, this is the last days. And, oh, it's saved. All right, I'll pause it and then come back. Okay, I'm back. It's uploading, so this video won't be put first then. So yeah, I'm setting it up for you so that you understand the significance and the impact that this is. Okay, so the church, represented by virgins, which is the constellation Virgo that John refers to in chapter 12, and we're getting to that because that's a part of this. And the bridegroom, the Jewish Messiah, the Christian Jesus, or the Mormon one mighty and strong. And it's a feast, a latter-day feast. And yeah, and so how is it that this person is able to come? I've already done the Messiah series videos where I go through each religion, each of their texts, each of their cultures, and their practices, traditions that have to do with this person as understood in each religion. More Jews, Christians, Mormons, Egyptians. Oh, I gave you a hint. So, yeah, I've already discussed it in all these videos, and so I'm not going to go over his identity here. Yeah, so just so that you understand, if you're Jewish and you happen to watch my video, welcome. I've not known a Jewish person to actually come to my video. And so this is going to be all new to you. And so, yeah, I recommend going to my Messiah video series. I start with part 1 or volume 1, I'm not sure how I titled it, talking about the last days Messiah from the Torah. Then I do the Tanakh, and then I do Jewish traditions. And so separate videos, hour-long videos. So you got to put a lot of preparation before you come to my video and try to understand it. Yeah, Jewish feasts are marriages. It's a feast. So to the feast is what you can say in place of marriage, understood as a marriage feast. They had feasts for lots of things, but marriage was a feast. Excuse me. And then, so virgins, church members, members of the organization, the religion. And, oh, man, gotta pause. All these distractions. Okay. All right, so you get the setting here. The parable of the 10 virgins is talking about the latter days and how to know when it's coming. And that's what Matthew 24 was all about. Jesus saying, there are signs coming, signs in the heavens, the sun, the moon, the stars. And then he goes and compares it to a wedding feast with the coming of whoever you want to call him, the bridegroom here, to usher it in. And And so, yeah, 7 days, 7,000 years. Although it's actually more than that, but anyway. All right, so awesome stuff. So I think that's pretty much it, and it's a warning to people in the latter days. Don't be like the foolish virgins. Be prepared when the time comes. Be prepared. Don't think you're prepared, and then when the time actually comes, realize, oops, I don't have any. I need to borrow it from others. Won't be able to happen. Can't do it. Because it's not actual oil, but they use oil here because you can't share oil anyway. But, yeah, I'm not... Okay, so, remember the 21st of August, 2017. It's been a long time. Most of you have probably forgotten and considered, oh yeah, it was neat and cool, and we all had a great day at school if you were a kid. But a major event happened on that day, and everybody was wondering, well, was it the sign that the Bible talks about, or is it just another one that will come and go? I guess it was another one that will come and go because the time has come and gone, hasn't it? As I've been warning you guys all this time, since November 4th, 2016. Okay. So this is 2019. Alright. So, the Egyptians. You remember them. I've discussed this in other videos on how the Gospels are taken directly from Egyptian documents. John the Revelator's revelation of chapter 12 refers to an Egyptian story, the main Egyptian story, and how the Torah, yes, the Torah, also comes from the Egyptian documents. That's my discovery. All the Zeitgeist people, they figured out the Gospels part, and then I filled in where they missed certain things. But yeah, the Torah is mine. I'm the one who made that discovery. That exclusive breaking news. So, for the Egyptians, that particular day just happened to fall on that year because the ancient Egyptians had different calendars, and so they had one that was rigid. You know, it's the same day every single year, but they had the religious calendar, and it varied because it wasn't rigid like the civil calendar. And so the religious calendar has their new year on different days in our rigid calendar that we have today. And so it just so happened that the Egyptian religious calendar New Year on the 21st of August 2017, when the total solar eclipse occurred, was their New Year. That in and of itself was awesome, right? Cool, okay. So what? What do you mean, so what? You don't know Egyptian cult and mythology. Because, or you didn't go see the Gods of Egypt movie. What happens to Horus? They sort of take liberty. It didn't happen exactly the way the movie says it did, but the beginning of the battle, when Horus goes back to take back the throne from Set after killing his father. See, here in the movie, they cut that part out and had Horus already a man, and Set takes out his eyes as he kills his father during that same event. So they messed up on that. But you get the idea that Horus's eyes are removed. And that's supposed to be at the last day's battle in the Egyptian mythology. So yes, the first coming for the Egyptians is Osiris. Then you have the second coming for the Egyptians, who is Horus, the son of Osiris. You see where the Jews and Christians get it wrong? And so in the Egyptian religion, the last day's second coming is supposed to be marked by a sign in the heavens of the eye of Horus being removed, and then also involving the removal of the left eye as well, because anciently the right eye was first removed, then the left eye, depending on the text you're looking at. And so yeah, both eyes go, but they obviously can't happen at the same time. Why? Because Horus's right eye represents the sun, and the left eye represents the moon. So you can't have a solar and a lunar eclipse at the same time. That's why there's different stories about this. And so in Egyptian interpretation, the right eye of Horus represents government. The left eye represents religion. So Horus is the successor to the kingdom of Egypt, and as the king or pharaoh of Egypt, he has both leadership authority over government and religion. He's the great king and the great high priest, Melchizedek, if you're unfamiliar with the Hebrew word, which is not pronounced Melchizedek in Hebrew, but that, never mind. And so are you catching on? Shall I go on further and explain other videos that I've done on this? The two eyes of Horus are the Egyptian word PTR. No vowels. They didn't have vowels back then. And it was Egyptologists today who just insert E's for vowels, for pronunciation, depending on which country you're from. I think it's Britain. Their Egyptologists put the E's in. And so Peter is the word in Egyptian for the two eyes of Horus. And the word refers to, in translation, seer, one who sees. And the Egyptologists, too difficult to obtain and explain, but Gardner doesn't have this in his sign list. And okay, so the video is ready for, and I'll change the thumbnail to show the guy that I'm referring to rather than me. Although I could make it where my fingers are pointing at me. So, or I can have the one, who cares? I want to do this video. Alright, so done. Okay. Alright, so yeah, we're done with that. Alright, so yeah, Egyptian is full of symbolisms. And so with the removal of the eyes, that represented eclipses. So solar eclipses represented government. Lunar eclipses represented religion. And so they understood that when a solar eclipse occurred, that there was going to be a threat to the government, either collapse of the government or a death of a government leader. Anybody recognizing what's going on right now as the government is shut down indefinitely? And you'll also notice that we had a death of a former president, Bush Sr., and I can even point out the governor of Missouri, because the center of the eclipse was in Missouri. And guess what happened to the governor of Missouri? He was a sex freak, a sex abuser, tying up women in his basement and then blackmailing them to be quiet. And so, yeah, he was ousted out of office, and they now have a new governor there, I guess. So, yeah, this is all part of what the Egyptians knew and understood. And this is exactly what's happening. The signs in the heavens correlate with events on earth. And wait, there's more! So John the Revelator in chapter 12, verse 1, and then verse 5, I think, in the King James, the Mormons switched the order around. Joseph Smith switched the order around so that it made more sense that the woman sign is his coming forth, the man-child's coming forth from the womb. Now, though he is understood as a child in the text, the concept is that this isn't his birthday. This is his taking back the kingdom day, to start the battle, to take back the kingdom. You know, and so yes, Mormons, I've already gone over this with you, and how your women's session of conference was on this very day, on the 23rd of September 2017. That's when the sign happened. And so the Egyptians, how did they know about this? Did they know about this? How did they know? What did they know? On the 23rd of September is the 4th of Manket, sacred to Tefnut. And you guys don't, if you don't know Egyptian, you don't know what I'm talking about. Don't worry about it. This is the feast of the coming forth, or the going forth, of the high priest. High priest. So when John the Revelator says that the woman who represents the church gives birth to the man-child who is to rule the world as the king and the high priest. Here we have on the 23rd the going forth of the high priest. And if you haven't caught on, because it changes every year as to when these dates occur, there has never, ever been a total solar eclipse on the religious New Year. Never. In Egyptian history, in all of the world's history, never. Anywhere throughout the world, never. I checked. Wikipedia has a listing of all the eclipses and when they occur and where they occur. Never, ever, ever. This was a one-time ever event that occurred, and the Egyptians nailed it multi-millennia ago. They nailed the date in the future multi-millennia ago. Is your jaw dropped yet? Wait, there's more. Because on the 22nd, the day before the going forth of the high priest in Egyptian, the feast of the first arrival. And of course, Osiris is the god of this feast. You may think, well, that's not the second coming, that's the first coming. Jesus didn't come, and he's not going to be... No, you're not getting it. You're not getting it. The last days Jewish Messiah has to first come, and it's announced by a sign in the heavens. Then he has to battle Set for the throne. And he can't do this He can't come in our day if there's no problems with the government and the religion. If everything's fine, there's no need for him. This is how awesome this is. The Egyptians knew this multi-millennia ago. This is awesome stuff. I can't explain it. This goes beyond having a superior knowledge of how the movements of the stars go through the zodiac. This goes far beyond that. This is sci-fi alien stuff. Lizard people from Sumeria, the Anunnaki, I believe they. So, this is awesome stuff, guys, and we're not done yet. So, the Feast of the First Arrival, the day before the going forth of the high priest, which corresponds with John the Revelator's date. So guess where he got his date from? The Egyptians. It's that simple. He's telling stories about the woman fleeing into the wilderness. That's the Egyptian story. And this is awesome. And so, yeah, okay. Now, did you forget the parable of the 10 virgins? A feast marks the second coming. A feast, marriage feast, marks the second coming, which means a sign in the heavens for the event that will occur on Earth. Because as you know, the 21st of August solar eclipse didn't collapse the government immediately. Trump did make an announcement saying that he's threatening the world when he talked to the military in Virginia that evening, after going blind by looking straight into the eclipse without glasses on. Knucklehead. But, yeah, it was December last year, not too long ago, when Trump shut down the government. And now he's enslaving the house of Israel. I mean, the people, the United States. You catching on? What happened? Moses' first arrival, then the battle with Pharaoh. Pharaoh is resistant to let my people go. and then comes the second coming, as he takes them, the house of Israel, across the Reed Sea, representing into the Promised Land, but then they have a delay in purgatory in the desert. And so, yeah, this is all symbolic, people. All symbolic about our day. And so, yeah, so guess what's happening on the 21st of January, 2019? You should all know by now. It's all over the internet. I was first, but it's all over the internet now. And it's a super blood wolf moon. And it's wolf because of the Native American Indians, who referred to different moons according to when they happened. And so this one was January, is designated as the wolf moon. And you see this picture right over here? A wolf devouring the sheep. Wolf in sheep's clothing. Not a coincidence. This is the character of Set. He usurps the throne of Egypt from Osiris, having murdered Osiris. And then he does battle with Osiris' son to maintain the throne that he usurped. And Horus wins out and a millennial reign of peace ensues after the battle. And so this is just awesome. And so on the 21st, the sign of the moon. Now, we had one last year, and a religious leader died during that time frame. Just like the solar eclipse, former President Bush died. And as a result of the death of that religious leader, a new religious leader came forth on the American continent. So it's not the Pope. Sorry, guys, it's not Catholics. And the Christians, they don't have a religious leader. It's all whatever organization you go to down the block, or watch on TV if you're evangelical. And so, yeah, guess what? It's Mormons. You know, South Park had it right. If you're not familiar with that episode, look it up. It's hilarious. Everybody goes to hell. And they're all asking, which religion was right? Mormons. But it's not a good sign for Mormons, though. Because it means that the LDS Church, the Mormon Church, has to be corrupted, has to fall in order for this character to come forth and restore the church. Which is interesting because the Mormons call themselves a restored religion, with their first founding prophet, who was murdered and then usurped by Brigham Young. Interesting. And so, on the 21st of January 2019, we are having a total lunar eclipse. And I've been telling Mormons over and over again, hey guys, I'm recognizing a pattern. Hinckley died during a lunar eclipse period. And Thomas S. Monson, as I mentioned, died during a total lunar eclipse period. And now we have a third one. And and guess what the Egyptians understood this date multi-millennia ago, this date during the total lunar eclipse? Guess what they call it? Remember the 10 virgins? The feast of the second coming? That's it. The Egyptians. The feast of the second coming. And Kebeshenef is the god over this one. Don't worry about it. It's a Canoptic Jar, son of Horus, who's in charge of this. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's in charge of the Eastern Hemisphere, coming from the East. But I'd have to double check to verify. I can do that right now. Hold off. I'm going to pause. Okay. Nope. He's of the West. Come on, show me the falcon. Yep, just like his father, a falcon. The hawk-eyes, falcon eyes of Horus. It just doesn't get any better. Because this is the second coming. The feast of the second coming, just like in the parable of the 10 virgins. The second coming, the coming of Horus. This is the son of Horus, who is in his image a falcon hawk. You know, Egyptologists debate over the translation, but you got to remember, this was thousands of years ago. And so we don't have the subcategories of species that we have now. You know, dogs used to be wolves, for example. So they're all canines. Wolves and dogs are all canine family. So yeah, here we have the Feast of the Second Arrival with Kebeshenuf, the Horus figure from the west. So it's not the rising of the east with the first coming. It's the west, setting in the west. The sun sets in the west. The second coming, when death occurs. And you think, well, wait a minute, second coming and death, what are you talking about? Are you not familiar with the destruction of the world at the second coming, in order to usher in the rebirth of a new millennium? And so this is awesome, guys. If you're not dropping your jaws as to how the Egyptians knew and were warning us in all of their documents, it's just unbelievable. And the West. What is the United States? The West. It just doesn't get any better. They knew. They knew the date. They knew the place. It's just unbelievable. Wow. Oh, and by the way, if you're planning on taking a cruise or going out on the lake or river or ocean on that day, don't. Stay away. Because the Egyptians put a warning way back when in their documents to stay out of the water on that day. So I personally would heed that advice with the accuracy that these ancients had. This is just awesome. And he who refreshes his brothers has to do with the resurrection. That's the definition of, or the meaning of Kebeshenuf. So yeah, if you're unfamiliar with the Egyptian myths, if you're unfamiliar with your Bible prophecies of the second coming, if you're unfamiliar with the concept of the movements of the stars having to do with events on Earth, you're missing out. This is the greatest time in history, and it's the most tragic time in all history, as Americans are being put into bondage, not getting paid for their labor, to build a wall instead of a granary, as the Egyptian story goes. But yeah, Moses comes, says, hey, let my people go. Okay, I'll increase the bondage and take away the straw from the brick. It's just unbelievable. So yeah, the firstborn of Pharaoh, Donald Trump Jr., look out. Mueller's gonna get ya. We don't know what's gonna happen, because as you've seen, it's not exactly in the same method and manner. And we don't know the dates. You know, we know the sign date, 21st of January 2019. That's the sign date for the second coming. And so, yeah, man. Yeah, there's been other signs that have been happening all this time, and I've been posting about them and videoing, vlogging them. So, man, this is it. That's the exclusive breaking news. And if you guys, if you don't understand, you know, you're missing out. You know, it's like General Hospital. If you've never had an interest in getting involved in soap operas, you're missing out with General Hospital in the 80s. With Luke and Laura. You've seen the tabloids. but it was awesome when you got involved with it. And yeah, the Quartermains with the freeze ray gun aimed at Port Charles. Man, you guys are missing out. But but yeah, it's just unbelievable. So yeah, if you're a conspiracy theory nut and you're familiar with the Illuminati, this is it, guys. This is exactly the warning about the Illuminati threat to America. It's here, it's now, and Trump's a part of it. He's not saving us from it. He's not the guy he's not Horus. He's not the Jewish Messiah. He's not the man-child. In fact, he's the beast. And I've been telling you guys this. You know, John the Revelator says that there's a dragon who controls the beast and the false prophet. The beast is the government leader. The false prophet is the religious leader. Who's the dragon then? Oh, it's Lucifer, because he says it's Lucifer. It's a person on earth. Guess who is controlled by the same person? Trump. Who's he controlled by? What's all the press about? Is he an agent for Putin? Putin is the dragon. And you think, well, China, they have dragons, and that's their symbol. You know, Putin's a buddy with them. But no, it's Putin. Putin controls the world right now. He's Set, the usurper. And Trump is the usurper here on the United States. And Nelson is the false prophet. So, yeah, they're both going to collapse. The government's already collapsed, but we still haven't fully collapsed yet. There's still a federal government officers still in charge who are getting paid, where the other federal workers are being forced to work for free. So it just doesn't get any better than this, guys. So this is awesome. So yeah, look at all my videos. Now you'll understand them, why I'm warning you. Because the 21st of January 2019 is the date of the second coming. The sign in the heavens of the second coming. And it can be some time after, guys. We may be tortured for a little bit longer, just as the Pharaoh tortured the house of Israel for who knows how long a duration. So I think it was actually days. I have to go back and check, but anyway. So yeah, this is awesome, guys. So there you have it. You heard it from me first. So I'll put it in the title so you'll know at the beginning of the video, so you don't have to listen to the end.